These are 5 investments that you must have before you hit 40 years. Let me say it again. These are 5 investments that you must have before you hit 40 years. Are we together? Why am I even saying 40? What's the magic thing about 40 years? See, by the time you clock 40 years, there's some of the things that is expected of you. You must have accomplished. You know, we already am an adult. You have a lot of bills to pay. Probably you have children in high school, or maybe you got your kids a bit earlier. Maybe they are out, and maybe you have two things happening here. Number one, you realize that you have kids in high school, like the bills are at most. If you do not have a home, you're thinking about owning a home. And number three, you're thinking about your retirement. So there are 3 bars that you have to cater for your kids, you have to cater for your retirement, and you have to have a home if you do not have any. So stick all the video to the end so that you understand what are these 5 investments that you must have before you hit that particular age. This is Good Joseph, in case you're watching me for the first time. And by the way, you know what? I upload this kind of videos each and every day. And the only way you can do so that you never miss any good video is simply going ahead and subscribing. Hit that small button written subscribe just down below there. Turn that notification bell and leave a comment on the comment section. Tell me which ones will you have among whatever I'm going to discuss with you. Anyway, I know you're about, you have a long introduction. Let's get on the business now. The first investment that you must have is what we call U investment. U investment. What does the U investment mean? To invest on yourself. Have you ever invested on yourself? Are we together? Do you care about yourself? When I say you investment, simply means, do you pay yourself? Do you pay yourself? When we say, do you pay yourself, we simply mean ask. Do you usually set aside some cash for the sake of you? Not for the sake of someone else. I always tell people, when you buy a clothes, when you go for a shopping, when you buy a car, when you're not, that is not you. You have not paid you. If you buy a car, you have paid that car and guy. If you pay your rent, you have paid your landlord. If you buy your clothes, you have paid your tailor. If you pay for your very nice meal, you have paid for the restaurant owner. But how do you pay you? See, when you pay you, it means that you take a certain amount of money. As you go back to your money that you earn, you're paying all these different people. You are paying you. Do you improve your life? How you look? Do you dress nicely? Do you look presentable? Do you work on how you appear? Do you work on your communication skills? Because now you're getting to the youth age of old. A lot of people will coming by to ask for your information, for the guidance, be it either marriage guidance, be it either social, spiritual. Do you carry yourself? Do you have the character, the aura, the charisma? Do you have the demeanor that people can say, hey, you know what? You can rely on that gentleman. You can rely on that lady. She or she can actually tell you 1, 2, or 3 things. Do you invest in you? You investment is the most important thing that you can ever do by having all those things that you've discussed. That is the first investment that you can. Because do you invest on your character? Do you invest on what we call the financial literacy? Do you understand the financial literacy? Are you still struggling, asking yourself, where is the money going, and you're at your age 40? You don't even know how to spend your money. You don't know the difference between your needs, your wants. You don't differentiate between the investments, the businesses, what money comes when, where does it go? Do you have a working budget? Do you even plan for your retirement? Like, are you working for yourself? Do you have your own investment? Do you believe in paying somebody, they sit them down and they teach you where you are weak? Listen, the moment, if you know you have a weakness of something, usually either delegate those responsibilities. For example, let's say you are very rude. Let's say you don't know how to talk to people. Okay, let's say you are being affected by emotion. You already know your weakness. Where you have the weakness, you find somebody, you employ them and put there. Let's say, for example, you have a business and you are very rude. You don't even know how to handle people. You don't even know how to express yourself. And you are the face of your business. When a customer shows up, you are the first person they see. You don't even know how to speak. No, you get out of that particular place. You employ somebody and place them there because you have a weakness at that particular point. Have you invested on yourself? Do you have self-identity, self-awareness? When you do all that, what we call the you see, we usually think about buy bonds, buy bills, buy shares, buy that, buy that, buy that. But do you invest on yourself? You don't. That is the first thing that you're supposed to do. Before you hit your 40 years, you should be able to have all these things so that when the money comes in, or if you have the money, then you'll be able to handle that cash in a very, very decent way. Second investment that now you must have by the time you hit now. Let's now talk about investments. The stocks. You must have stocks, shares, strokes, equity. You must have this investment by the time now you hit 40. What does it mean? You must have a share of a particular business, okay? Be it a startup, be it a big established company, be it a PLC, you must have a share of something. Why am I talking about a share? When we talk about a share, it means you're not 100% owner of that particular business. Therefore, it means you are not 100% involved in the development, in the running of that particular business. So therefore, it means the money that you'll be getting out of your venture, it is a passive income. Why am I stressing on the passive income? Because now, when the moment you hit 40, you're transitioning to the life whereby you are less productive. Well, you might be more experienced, but you're less productive, bearing in mind that now the energy is actually going down. Are we together? It's dwindling. Are we together? So the moment you have these stocks and shares or the equities, by the way, they simply mean the same. It means that now you can sit down and say, hey, you know what? I have X amount of shares in an investment company. I have an X amount of shares, say, in a particular business. I'm in a partnership with 1, 2, 3, 4 people in a particular LTD company. I have a shares in a particular PLC company. You must have shares. Get yourself shares. Start the journey of buying shares and equities. This has been proven by time to time since the ages of 100 years. This thing has been there. And probably you're watching me from any country, and you guys, you have your own stock exchange. Go there, purchase the shares, be an investor, speak the language of investments, what is doing what. Sometimes I love when we have the politics going on. I usually check the market, how the markets are behaving on how the policy. For example, when Trump won the presidency of the US for the second round, I was like, okay, this is how the market's behaving. This is how the crypto world is behaving. This is how the PLC companies are behaving. This is how the index funds are behaving. This is how the commodities are behaving. Because you are an investor. It's so sweet. Are we together? Now, have shares. And if you don't know anything about these stocks, I can help you in two ways. I do have a booklet that I've written about shares, stocks, equities, how to get started. You can grab that copy. It's only 280 shillings. That's like less than $3. You can get that number of mine from the description, or that email. You can text me, then you can be able to get your copy. And if you don't love reading a lot, of which I highly recommend you do, you can actually have a one-on-one discussion, either Google Meet, virtual call, whichever the thing it is, using the same number. Then I can be able to take you through step by step for just a cup of coffee's price. Okay, we got the second or the third investment that you must have. You must have an MMF, or we can call it a mutual fund. This can help you achieve two things. One, can actually help you to achieve what we call the long term, and two, can help you achieve what we call the emergency fund. Okay, the emergency fund, on that regard, it means by the time now you hit 40 years, come on, you're already an adult, no argument about that. Therefore, you having an emergency fund by your end, you simply don't know the eventuality that will be there as far as this life is concerned. There is a saying that goes by that the most predictable thing about life is unpredictability. You cannot predict how it will be. And the moment you have your emergency fund, it does not mean now you've taken care of 100% of your future. We don't know. You simply control the controllables. Are we together? By the way, the things that I usually discuss on this particular board, not that I'm 100% perfect, not that I have the manual for life. No, we share different things. We control the controllables. That what we can't control, obviously we can't even discuss about that because we don't have any control. But this ones, we can control how we spend our money. We can control what goes where. And we can also do the best by having what we call the emergency fund. You can also use a money market fund also to function as your what? A sinking fund. You see, this is the money you set aside. Let's say you have a kid who is about to graduate. You'll need some cash to take them to a college or university, or maybe a course or something like that. You should have that sinking fund. You should have that emergency fund. You can also use this MMF for the long-term investment. Okay, why? Because of its nature, has what we call the compound interest and what have you. So you must have this. This is actually a cash or cash equivalent. What does it mean? This money is actually in liquid form, meaning you can access it at any given moment. Emergency fund, of course, you can't buy shares, you can't buy stocks and put that money and say it's your emergency fund. No, emergency fund should be now safe whereby you can access it within a click of a button. So therefore, your liquidity, because when you hit this particular age and beyond, you actually need cash flow. Are we together? There is a certain age you can hit and you don't even need assets, by the way, that are not generating any cash flow because they're irrelevant. You need assets that are generating cash flow. I had a gentleman we had a sitting. The guy has over 135 acres of land. The guy is struggling. You know, he doesn't even have a car. Oh, he had a car, but sort of a broken one, you know, a very old car. The guy is struggling to even put some food on the table, and the guy has over 135 acres. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the old people whereby you find they believe in an acquisition of just land which are not generating anything. There's nothing wrong getting a land, but if you're supposed to understand, they are assets and they are assets that generate cash flow. Those are two different things. And when you grow old, listen, by the way, liquid cash will make more sense than title deeds, because you cannot you cannot do shopping with the title deed. You get what I'm saying? So we had to find a way of how you liquidate some assets so that you can value add others. You can liquidate some asset, you come up with some sort of rentals so that you can be able to generate cash flow, so that you can be able to live in a decent life. For God's sake, that gentleman was around 70 something years. He has worked all his life. So this asset that you are accumulating, you should have a plan. By the time now you retire, this is what will actually cater for your what? Old age. Come on, guys. The money market fund is an investment that you should have by the time you clock your 40. And that, or rather the fourth investment that you must have on this regard, is that none other than having an investment called, yeah, have you ever heard of these investments? We usually call them the T-bills and the T-bonds. T-bills and the T-bonds and what have you. These are kind of fixing your money. These are kind of fixing your cash. Let's say you have a problem of, what do you call it? Eating your cash and such kind of a thing. You know, you can actually decide to take this money and put it there. For example, T-bills, where you fix your money at an intervals of either 6 months, 3 months, or 1 year. So when you fix that money at those different intervals, it means that you're going to be liquid at an interval of 3 months, or an interval of 3 or 1 year or 6 months or something like that. So when you have that nature of an investment, that will be so good and great, and will help you a lot in acquisition of what we call the financial freedom as you move to the next level. Other investment that you must have, that is the fifth one, you can actually get yourself in something called, let's say you don't know how to buy these stocks and shares and what have you, because they require a lot of moving parts. You can have what we call the balance fund. Okay, the balance fund, that's an investment. Or you can decide to have yourself what we call the equity fund. Okay, the equity fund. Okay, now the equity fund, with that regard, is simply you buying shares of different companies, but you're not doing the donkey job or the donkey work of finding out, researching what company to buy, what company not to buy. Let's say you don't even have that time, you're so busy doing whatever you do, you can get into this particular thing of the equity fund. The balance fund, with that matter, is where now you have two things at the same time. You can decide to have the bond fund in between, inside this balance fund, and you have the stocks in that, or you can have the MMF in here. So some part of your money is subjected to a bit of a higher risk investment, and other is actually subjected to a bit of a stable and secured investment. So you can have a combination of those two with that. The last one, which is like a discount, we can say it's business. By the time you hit 40 years, my friend, you should have started a business. Okay? It's either you're doing your services or you're doing your goods. You know, just try it. Never fear. Just try it. Keep on trying it. You never know. You might touch something that will actually work for you. By the time you hit this year, you should have yourself a business. You've ever started a business. You've ever tried something. Let's say you are a teacher. Have you ever even tried to start a daycare? Let's say you're a doctor. Have you ever even tried to start a dispensary? Let's say you are a HR. Have you ever tried to start a farm that where you offer the HR services? Let's say you are an engineer. Have you ever tried to start a farm where you offer consultation services as far as the construction is concerned? Let's say you are a lawyer. Do you have a law firm? Let's say you are a financial advisor. Do you have yourself some channels? Do you have yourself some, I mean, like, please try to get from the professional part of your career to the business part of it. Have you ever tried to do that and see whether you can be able to offer services beyond the professionalism or the profession part of it? So that way will help you to actually leverage on the skills. You can be able to make more out of that. By the time you hit 40, this is where we say, really looking for a job, you shouldn't be sort of like struggling and whatever. You should have pressed different buttons so that you know what works and what doesn't work. And that way you can say you're getting to the 40th year and you are smart intellectually as far as the finances are concerned. And of course, look for somebody to teach you about spirituality and beliefs and what have you. That still will help you a lot as you grow old. For God's sake, you're heading to meet your maker. Anyway, if you are a believer. If you're not, then I don't have a message for you. Anyway, guys, that is it. For now, it's a goodbye, but don't forget, you can always grab that number fine from the description of this particular video, and we can talk business. That's good Joseph speaking. See you in the next one.